welcome to another edition of 2A Arsenal Roundup News. I'm your host, Richard Espinoza. 2A Arsenal Roundup News is your primary source for Second Amendment news. We give you important Second Amendment news, whether it be good, bad, or ugly, whether it be in blue states, red states, or any part of the United States. We keep you informed as the best as we can possible to bring you important Second Amendment news that matters to you to protect your Second Amendment rights. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, it's Christmas time, one of my favorite times of the year. As a Christian, it's all about celebrating my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I'm very humbled as a Christian, to spread the word of Christ at Christmas time. But also, we're also facing towards the end of the year. Today's subject, we're going to be talking about what can we do for 2026? What needs to be done? What can we do as gun owners? What can we do to make sure that our message be heard? And what we can do to fight against those who want to do further damage to our Second Amendment rights? What is it that we can do, I can do, or any of us can do? Let's talk about that. 2026 is going to be an important year for us. It is going to be the primary elections. I think it's going to be one of the most important primary elections in election history. I honestly believe that the primary elections will even be bigger than the presidential elections in 2024. Next year is going to be even bigger. Why? Is because next year can determine our fate for the Second Amendment. Either can make us or break us. And it's important we vote out those who don't speak for us. It's important that you get involved and know who the candidates are, where they stand, or do they support your rights? Because if they don't vote for them, don't support them. And the problem is in today's world, and I say this both as a conservative and, as a patriotic American, as a gun owner, as a gun rights advocate, the labels no longer matter. It's no longer about Republican or Democrat. It's all about patriots versus socialists. This is where it narrows down to. Because you have just as many Republicans who have betrayed gun owners as there is of Democrats. And you have a lot of rhino Republicans in office that need to be removed. And then you have these radical leftist Democrats who are going to try to unseat a rhino Republican, which would be a no-win situation. So it's important we look for the right candidates who will speak for you. And one particularly that I am eyeing on is in the state of Texas, as well as the state of Arizona, which I will be moving to next month. I'll be moving to Arizona soon. I'm still looking for a place to Arizona to live. I'm going to be working in Arizona. And hopefully when I do move to Arizona, I will be doing more podcasting than I've ever had since I've started doing this. I started doing this in Wyoming, then to South Dakota. And because things didn't work out in Wyoming and South Dakota, and I love Wyoming, I still miss the state of Wyoming very much. I miss the people there. It's a true pro-gun heaven there, and I just love Wyoming so much. I wish I could stay there, but because there's no work there, I'm going to be moving to Arizona. But Arizona will also be important as well. I'm going to get to that momentarily. But first, we're going to start off with the state of Texas. As for some of you may heard, if you followed, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton will be challenging a rabidly anti-gun rhino Republican by the name of John Cornyn. John Cornyn is no friend to the Second Amendment, but Ken Paxton is a true ultimate champion for Second Amendment rights. He's been heavily endorsed by Gun Owners of America, and when you being supported by Gun Owners of America and the National Association for Gun Rights, and as well as the Second Amendment Foundation, you know that you have the right person who's going to be fighting for us, and Ken Paxton has done a great job of that. He will be challenging John Cornyn in the primaries. So Texas, this is up to you. You got to make sure that you vote, and you make sure that John Cornyn gets defeat. On the Democrat side, we all know is little Miss Loudmouth Jasmine Crockett. We all know is not a friend of the Second Amendment at all. Little Miss Loudmouth thinks that she's going to turn Texas blue, but you, the Texas voters, have something to say about that. So it's important that you make sure that little Miss Loudmouth does not even make it to the U.S. Senate, let alone back in Congress. You have the power to do so, to prevent her from being in power. So it's important you get involved and make sure that little Miss Loudmouth does not even make it to the primary elections. Or even if she does make it to the Democrat candidacy, make sure Ken Paxton goes to Washington, D.C., because Texas, he will speak for you and represent you the best way he possibly can, because he is a true champion for Second Amendment rights, and he has filed many lawsuits against the ATF. And then the next Texas candidate that's going to be very important in as far as Congress goes, people of Texas have an opportunity to unseat Rhino Republican Tony Gonzalez and elect Brandon Herrera. Brandon Herrera has been a tremendous rock star when it comes to Second Amendment rights. You know, he's known as the AK Man. He's done many YouTube videos on fighting for gun rights. He only lost by a couple of points to Tony Gonzalez back in 2024. And Brandon Herrera has vowed that he will be back again to fight the good fight. And hopefully the people in Texas will go to the voting polls in Brandon Herrera's district, or Tony Gonzalez's district, and vote for Brandon Herrera. Go, Brandon, go. We need Brandon Herrera in Congress in order to get things right and make sure that we defeat the ATF. We need Brandon Herrera in there. And I guarantee you, if Brandon Herrera gets elected, the ATF will be gritting their teeth. And they're not going to be too happy. Because he made it clear that if he gets into Congress, he will make sure that the ATF will be a thing in the past as well as they should be. Now we're going to go to the state of Arizona. The people of Arizona has been known to be a pro-gun state for a very long time. Question is, how much longer will it be? Arizona has had a great reputation of being a pro-gun state for many years. But here's the problem right now. We cannot allow Katie Hobbs to be reelected. She should not have been elected in the first place. Everybody knows she cheated. There's no argument to that. She cheated her way to the Capitol building in Phoenix. She cheated her way to the government's mansion. Katie the lunatic Hobbs needs to be voted out of office, and needs to be voted out of office immediately. Because I guarantee you, Arizona, and I hate to say this, and I don't mean to get your blood pressure going, Arizona, but the truth is the truth. I 100% guarantee you, if Katie Hobbs gets reelected, she will turn Arizona into a second California. And I hate to say that, but it will happen if you don't get to the voting polls. For right now, Katie Hobbs is hiding her anti-gun agenda. She's acting like she has no interest in wanting to ban your guns. But if she gets reelected, she will follow the same path as Gavin Newsom as far as gun rights go. She will, because she has nothing to lose but everything to gain, because she won't be able to run again after that, because she's only going to serve 2 terms. And that means if she gets elected again, God forbid, Mark Kelly could be the next governor of Arizona, and you don't want that either. And Mark Kelly is another person that needs to be voted out of office. And I hope Arizona has a good conscience and gets to the voting polls to make sure that Mark Kelly does not get reelected. It's bad enough that Arizona had to put up with John McCain for so many years. John McCain, we all know, never was, never has, never will be a friend of the Second Amendment when he was alive. You and I both know that he is not a true friend of the Second Amendment. That's one of the reasons why I used to call him Juan McCain, because he cared more about protecting the illegals than he did about protecting Americans' rights. He never was a conservative, and even when he ran in 2008, it wasn't a win-win situation. Neither Obama, neither was John McCain a good candidate. Neither one of them were good. And the same thing when Obama ran for election. We had another rhino Republican with Mitt Romney. So that is why it's important that you get involved and know who's running and know the candidates that you're voting for. That means you need to get involved and join many gun rights organizations as you possibly can. Whether it would be with Gun Owners of America, the Second Amendment Foundation, the National Association for Gun Rights. Join as many as you can. Whatever one that you like, if you like 1, 2, 3, or whatever you like, join them. If you feel that they will represent you and help fight for you, and get involved and get active and spread the word around and talk to other fellow gun owners what's at stake. And now many of you question about the NRA. Is the NRA still good to join? I know that there's many controversies going on with the NRA, especially some bad reputations that they've had, and I clearly understand that. And a lot has to do with Wayne LaPierre. Wayne LaPierre, I was not a big fan of. He really did not do what was right for the NRA. He really stonewalled the NRA a lot. And, you know, he did cut back deals with these gun control politicians. But I'll be extremely honest with you. Our current NRA Executive Vice President, Doug Hamlin, is doing a fantastic job rebuilding the NRA. I truly believe that the NRA will make a tremendous comeback. Some of you may agree with me on that, some of you may not, and you have a right to disagree with me on that. But I'm going to be honest with you. Doug Hamlin is going to turn the NRA around. He really is. His action speaks louder than words. And he made it clear from day one that any wrongs that the NRA has made, he's going to correct it and make it right. Any wrongdoings that the NRA has done, he will make sure it won't be repeated. And he really has stuck to what he said. And even Eric Pratt of Gun Owners of America even has complimented Doug Hamlin's efforts in rebuilding the NRA. And Gun Owners of America in the past has harshly criticized the NRA a lot, and rightfully so, especially Eric Pratt's father, Larry Pratt. But Doug Hamlin has done a great job, and I believe that the NRA is safe to join, especially what Doug Hamlin is doing. He's really turning the NRA around. I'm not lying. He really is. And I truly believe he's really going to make it even better than it ever has before. I think he'll make the biggest comeback since Harlan Carter was the executive vice president of the NRA. And that was the great days when the NRA was at its peak. But I truly believe that Doug Hamlin will turn things around. So again, remember, get involved, know the candidates, get in and join as many gun rights groups as you possibly can, and get the word out. So that is it for 2A Arsenal Roundup News. And again, if anybody out there has any important legislation that you want to bring to my attention, feel free to send me email at RJ Espinoza, that's RJ Espinoza, ESPINOZA.roundupnews@gmail.com. Just tell me what state you're from, tell me what the legislation's about, will it benefit your Second Amendment rights, will it cause an effect on your Second Amendment rights. Just, again, you can leave your name anonymous if you want. I can go by your first name or your last name, or just not mention your name at all, but just send me an email. Tell me what you want me to spread to other gun owners about this important legislation in your state. Because remember, what affects one state will affect another. It's because we're united we stand, or divided we fall. And just remember, just because you live in a red state doesn't mean it's protected. Because sometimes we take for granted that, yeah, we live in a red state, we don't have to worry about it. Trust me, the anti-gunners are targeting red states and trying to turn it to blue. You see what happened right now in Wyoming. You have Governor Mark Gordon, who's a Rhino Republican, and many Wyoming gun owners are not too happy with him. So it's a perfect example that just because somebody's a Republican doesn't mean they're a friend of the Second Amendment. It's all about a person's evictions and what they can offer and what they can do. And I think a perfect example of that is Georgia Congressman Andrew Clyde, for example. Congressman Andrew Clyde, you know, he owned a gun shop. He still owns a gun shop. His sons now run it. And because he saw what was going on in Washington, D.C., he saw how the ATF was harassing him. And, you know, he wanted to make a difference. And he's done so. And because he made a great difference in wanting to protect fellow gun owners, you know, he gave up his gun business to fight for us. Although his sons is still running his gun shop in Georgia, but he gave it up doing it full time so that he can fight against the people that try to dismantle his business, the ATF. And the ATF has turned Andrew Clyde into a monster. And now they regret even messing with him. So that is it for 2A Arsenal Roundup News. I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And hopefully by the next time I do my next video, I will be in Arizona, at least I hope. Or probably, if I have time, if I have some important legislation news, I'll probably have something ready by or before Christmas Eve. Until then, be armed, be vigilant, carry a firearm wherever you may go. Remember, it's your constitutional right to protect your home, your family, and your community. Have a great day, my fellow Americans. God bless.